Okay, so we're going to end up having it put right here. So we're going to have a nail go right here and then come down. So I'm going to hammer it in, put it like this, fold it over, and that way there's no way that the plumber's epoxy is going to give up on us. So the plumber's epoxy, or this is water weld, same thing. You need to have the exact amount of each color in the tube. So it comes in a long tube like this. You just cut off a little piece that you need, and you don't want more white or more gray. You want the same amount. I always have the very end cut off. It's kind of dry, and I keep that at the end so that I don't have to have crunchy spots or anything, or crunchy pieces inside of what I work with. And then I put it back in the tube. This one is water weld, and it's going to get hard as you need. Well, I find some hard spots in there actually. And once it turns the same color, all of it turns a light gray, you know you're going to be able to start working with it. If you start feeling it turn warm, you're going to run out of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on here and take about half off, a little bit more than half, see what I need, and then I'm going to push it down, piece that I cut off of it, and I'm going to push underneath so that there's a little bit of this underneath it, and then I'm going to shape it. So we want to have that nail covered. We want it to look like it's a ripple of paint actually. So I'm going to ripple it out so that when I let go of it, it will actually look like paint coming out. I'm going to try to get a tool now, a carving tool that will work a lot better. Betty Slutta gave this to me years ago, and it's a dental tool that she uses with her bronze sculptures. I'm going to continue to try to make my design before this dries out. So right here I've got some on the blue. I'm going to have to try to wipe off before it dries completely. You can hear Dolly playing with a piece of plastic behind me. The last one I did like this, I did ripples. This one I'm trying to duplicate the pattern that was there. So the ripples I'm trying to actually exaggerate, even though it's not what might come out in a natural pour. For someone to be looking at a piece of art, pop art, sometimes the emphasis of the ripples being slightly exaggerated can bring one's eye to that and make it look more realistic in the mind's eye. Trying to get a little bit of ripples in the back here to make it look like the paint is also flowing with the pattern of the paint pour. Okay, I think that this is getting hard and starting to set up, and I need to embellish some of the white and other colors to make it match the cup and the cup match the pour. So it'll match the cup more. The greens, and the blues, the purples, golds, whites. Okay, so I've got my little palette board here, and I'm gonna make a white line go down this. So as you can see, there's a white line coming down, and then it stops when we're having it ripple behind the stream, and then it's gonna go right down the center of the stream between the blue and the gold, right here. And so I've got Winsor Newton titanium white to do this with. Dolly's here painting with me. She likes to be my little partner in everything. So many of my outdoor videos have her in the background somewhere. Okay, little strokes aren't as good as making one long stroke. And what's nice about having so much hair on the brush is you can have one smooth line of paint. Okay, so I noticed as I got down to the bottom, the purple punch ArtMinds is super thin down there. So I will clean. I have to be careful being on this surface too. I can't make the mistake of getting paint. I have another little brush I like to use. About the same hairs, it's just not as long. They're shorter. And so what you get is detail. You get to have the detail in the long brush like this. But in the short brush like this, the detail is there. However, you can't wiggle as much. So I'm taking it from the lid where it's slightly thicker just so that I can get it to go on over the blue. There we go. And since I have it in my possession, I might as well take some off the side here, add it onto the lid, and go ahead and make this swirl in here look more natural. So this is one of the best parts about being able to embellish a paint pour, is being able to just be in the moment, be mindful of how I'm incorporating how the pour was flowing and how my brush is able to engage with the existing paint and mixing my colors to flow with it and to not lose the concept of the pour, but to enhance it so that it's really looking as though the cup is being poured onto the piece of wood. The paint from the cup is being poured on, and that again, it's exaggerated so that a person is drawn to imagine that this is what's happening. So let me know if you think it works, or if you think that it's just overdone. It needs to be more subtle. I love doing this sort of art. I consider it pop art, but I could be wrong. I just really enjoy making things be out of the box and somewhat creative on a level that isn't so typical, and that's what's so exciting about pour. When we paint pour, there is no predicting, there is no expectation that can possibly be accurate, and that is just something that I embrace, and I think a lot of artists out there also embrace it. Please let me know if you do. I would love to hear your comments about how paint pouring has influenced your life and the way you look at things, the way you look at art, the way you look at just life in general, look at yourself. I just, this past year of using paint pour as a medium for relaxation and for regaining my energy level has been amazing, and so I'm really curious to know if others feel the same way. So I really hope that you feel comfortable enough to share. If you don't, I understand, and I will stop talking about this now while I continue to show you how I've made this suspended cup paint pour. Thank you. Okay, so I think I'm gonna just make sure that there's the gold looks right coming out of the cup now. I think we've got the white coming out okay. I think the way it's coming down here looks good. I'll just get some gold areas to look correct. So I'm just gonna dab just about a little drop on my palette board. Treat this like gold. Sorry. Okay, so there's another pour I did that has 5 cups on it, and then the pour itself wasn't the focal point. The focal point is just the cups all being able to pour onto the board. Where this is really trying to make it look like pour came out of the cup and it's flowing. I think we've got it. I'll go ahead and sign my name. I think I'll sign it green in the gold. Maybe taking a little bit of gold and white. I don't want it to be obvious, but I want it to be readable. That's kind of my theory on a signature. If somebody wants to find it, they're able to find it, but it shouldn't stick out. I write Lee Bippus Jones. My maiden name was Bippus, so I have kept it as my middle name. Usually I put 2000, whatever the year is, under my S, but in this case, it would go into the same color as my 2020, right after my name. There we go. So part 2 is going to be how I resined this piece and how I was able to get the steel wire into the cup. And if you liked what you saw, please subscribe, hit the bell, and thumbs up.